Hello, welcome back. Today we'll conclude the anxiety disorders as we have discussed earlier. Today we'll talk about panic disorders. I have mentioned this word panic attack quite a few times in the last video regarding phobia. Today we'll discuss more elaborately on that. Panic, the word is very commonly used to denote freaking out loosely. But panic attack as a psychiatric term is more than freaking out. It has some specific characteristics. So what are they? Panic attacks are episodes of acute severe anxiety which last for a short duration, usually 5 to 30 minutes but may last longer. During this episode, the person who's having the attack experiences the physical symptoms, multiple physical symptoms and the psychological symptoms of anxiety in a severe intensity, more severe intensity than usual. So during the panic attack, what are the physical symptoms that can happen? Innumerable. A few of them will be palpitation, breathlessness, choking sensation, dizziness, numbness, restlessness, abdominal discomfort, pain in abdomen, butterflies in the stomach, heaviness of chest pain, etc. In the psychological symptoms, there is a fear of an impending doom, maybe death or maybe going mad, something of that sort. The fear is also very severe during this episode. So the entire experience is a very frightening thing because a person invariably feels that he or she is going to die at this moment or right now. Panic attacks occur in a crescendo-decrescendo manner. There is a beginning, then there is a peak, and then there is a fall. After the episode is over, the person is comparatively free from anxiety. Or even if there is some anxiety, it is definitely not of that severity. The anxiety, which can still be present even after the episode is over, is often anticipatory anxiety. What if I have the similar episode once again? Because I have already told you that the experience is very frightening. So we are maybe scared of what can happen, what will happen if I have that again. Panic attacks can occur in multiple disorders. It can happen in phobia, as we have already discussed. We know how phobia, the panic attacks and phobia limits our function. But it can happen in another psychiatric disorder which is known as panic disorder. What is panic disorder? In this, the panic attacks are multiple and frequent during a month and they are not restricted to any specific situation or predictable situation. So it will not be like only if I am going out to the market, only if I am going to socialize, only if I am on stage, or only if I am maybe inside the lift that they will occur. They can happen anywhere. So this also restricts our functionality. How? Say I have panic disorder. I have panic attacks with no exact preponderance of any situation, but I have it. So I may be scared of doing anything. I may be scared of going for a walk, going out alone, going to a market, going anywhere, attending a party, attending a conference, just because of the fear, what if I have that attack again? Because at that time, I'll feel like I'm going to die. So how will I survive? How will I get out of it? How can I get myself helped by someone else if I have that? So this is also a kind of dysfunction that we experience in our lives because of the panic. Panic attacks, as I have said, occur in phobia, in panic disorder, in other anxiety disorders like GAD, in depression, in stress-related disorders, and in a number of medical illnesses which are related to our endocrine system, our neurological system, our respiratory system, our heart and blood vessels, that is cardiovascular system, etc. So a proper evaluation of a panic attack is very important. Initially, to know why it is happening. Suppose if there is no medical problem or if there is no underlying depression or GAD or anything of that sort, even then it is harmful for our health. Because the biology is the same as of anxiety. Here there is an acute adrenaline surge in an apparently threatless situation, apparently harmless situation. So these adrenergic systems and our cortisol, it's a hormone, other systems which are related to our stress response, related to our alertness, so these are all interlinked. So when there is a dysfunction or dysregulation of one system, it actually causes dysregulation gradually in other systems as well. So if we let this continue, it may actually pose a serious threat to our health, both our body and our mind. How do we treat panic? Again, there are medicines, there are therapies, and first of all, a trained professional should evaluate properly for the cause of panic attacks. If it is panic disorder, then there are evidence-based therapies available. If the panic attacks are not very frequent, infrequent and not that bothersome, then psychological therapies are wonderful. Sometimes SOS, like as and when needed basis, medications are given. But if the severity is too high, again, like all other anxiety disorders, if the person is not receptive for the treatment, for the therapy, then often medicine is started. The responsibility of the decision lies mostly with the professional, but after a discussion with the client, surely. This is more or less about panic disorder. Now, before I conclude the anxiety disorders as a subject altogether, I would like to sum up a few points in general. First, anxiety can be a symptom of anxiety disorders, depression, acute stress reaction, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and medical illnesses. So, a proper evaluation is very important. Secondly, because we know the biological basis, we have just heard about it. So we cannot let our biology be dysregulated for long if it can be treated. So since there is treatment for most of the anxiety disorders, we definitely should seek help to get treatment as soon as possible. Early diagnosis and treatment can help cure a lot of problems. Also, with therapies, there is a self-efficacy that develops over years, there is a sense of power that develops over years, and these learnings are often for lifelong. Thirdly, if there is mild anxiety, which is specifically very situational and appropriate to the situation or the stress factor, it may be a normal reaction. But with the chief or the core characteristics of a disorder that we have outlined in so many videos, we must try to assess whether our anxiety is a normal reaction or it is not. At least we can identify if there is a potential problem. We may not identify the problem as a whole. We should not try to label ourselves as well, because we may be wrong in labeling. So we must be quite cognizant of it, and we should seek help whenever we think that there is a probability of a problem happening to us. So finally, we should be very serious about how to make things better for ourselves and what are required to do that, to assess our thoughts, to understand and to evaluate things at least at a basic level. With this newly acquired information, we should try to do that. I hope this helps. Thank you so much.